mission of more than 24 Iowa State troopers.
For the first time, Arnold's Park in Okoboji scheduled to close for extreme heat.
And meet a man who served on the front lines in Vietnam. And Veterans Voices on your KCAU 9 News at 10 now.
We are Siouxland proud. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
And thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. I'm Tim Seaman.
And I'm Sophie Erber. After 2 weeks at the U.S.-Mexico border in Texas, more than 24 Iowa State troopers have returned home.
And it's only now, after their mission is complete, that we're learning what the mission was. The details tonight in our top story at 10.
We have a surge of illegal immigrants coming across, and Border Patrol was just overwhelmed.
Those overwhelmed Border Patrol agents received help from the Iowans who joined with Texas law enforcement. They targeted the unprecedented number of migrants illegally crossing the border.
The Mexican cartels are going to exploit the gaps along the border. They're going to exploit the fact that Border Patrol is tied up processing all these illegal immigrants. So that was the primary focus of the operation.
The Texas Department of Public Safety confirmed to WHO 13 that Governor Kim Reynolds sent senior state trooper leadership along with drug investigation and TAC team specialists for the 2-week mission.
And they're focusing on criminal activity.
Unlike the Republican governors of South Dakota and Florida, Iowa's governor did not travel to the Mexican border after she agreed to send her state's personnel. And so far, she has revealed little about what this Texas mission was that Iowans are paying for.
We sat down with the commissioner before we sent them down to make sure that they felt that they could not only handle the safety of the citizens in the state of Iowa, but had the resources to go down there.
But Texas law enforcement tell us that they partnered with the Iowa troopers to search for migrants fleeing authorities, along with drugs and stash houses where the smugglers hold the migrants who often become human trafficking victims. Some of that criminal activity can happen in Iowa, but the Iowans on assignment in Texas have never seen so much of it in one region like they did on this assignment just across the Mexican border.
It was a culture shock for them to actually see this. I mean, you see it. It's one thing to see it on TV, but when you're out there in the elements working on the front lines, it's a totally different perspective. So we're very grateful for that.
That was Dave Price reporting. Just yesterday, South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem visited 48 National Guardmen currently patrolling that Texas border. Now comes the question of whether their time could be extended.
I'll go home and evaluate that the next day or two. And I think I would have been more skeptical about a longer-term commitment until I saw what I saw today. Yep. What I saw today was people who are overwhelmed, and they know that the situation's only going to get worse.
Now, the governor says that Mexican cartels have a presence on several South Dakota Indian reservations where they distribute drugs and human trafficking victims all over the Midwest.
Meanwhile, as COVID-19 cases are fueled by the Delta variant climb across the country now, the Biden administration is issuing some new guidance on masking indoors and also in school settings. The CDC now recommends masking up in regions of the country with the highest levels of spread and also in schools, even if you're vaccinated. The new guidance is a reversal from just 2 months ago, amid reports of breakthrough infections in fully immunized individuals and climbing case numbers. Right now, nearly 2/3 of counties have high or substantial levels of transmission rates.
The reality is we are dealing with a much different strain of this virus than we were even earlier in the spring.
Governor Kim Reynolds now says the new guidance is not, quote, grounded in science or common sense. In a release statement, also adding, quote, I'm concerned that this guidance will be used as a vehicle to mandate masks in states and schools across the country, something I do not support. And she added that she is, quote, proud that we recently put new laws in place that will protect Iowans against unnecessary government mandates in schools and in local governments, end quote. The House committee investigating that January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol met for the first time today. And they heard firsthand from some of the officers who risked their lives as hundreds of people started to storm that building.
One latched onto my face and got his thumb in my right eye, attempting to gouge it out.
I heard chanting from some in the crowd, get his gun and kill him with his own gun.
And I recall thinking to myself, this is how I'm going to die, defending this entrance.
4 Capitol Police officers testified about the threats they faced that day, injuries they suffered, and the trauma tonight they are still dealing with. One officer had this request for lawmakers working on the committee.
I need you guys to address if anyone in power had a role in this, if anyone in power coordinated or aided or abetted or tried to downplay, tried to prevent the investigation of this terrorist attack.
The committee is expected to investigate that possibility, though the timing is unclear. They're not scheduled to meet again before next month's recess.
Christian Bahana Rivera could find out tomorrow whether he'll be getting a new trial. In May, jurors convicted Rivera of first-degree murder and the death of Molly Tibbetts. Within days of that verdict, Rivera's attorney presented new evidence in the case. The defense team now claiming Tibbetts was kidnapped and killed as part of a sex trafficking ring. During a Tuesday hearing, the defense called Mount Pleasant inmate Arnie Mackey to the stand. He claims that another man confessed to killing Tibbetts when the two were jailed together in Keokuk County.
He's like, I killed her. I'm like, I said, I don't believe you. And then he says, you know the guy that's being charged for it right now? I said, no, I don't. He's like, reset him up. He's like, it was a sex trafficking case gone wrong, and I stabbed her to death and put her in a tarp.
Prosecutors continually objected to the testimony, arguing that it isn't supported by the evidence and has no connection to Molly Tibbetts. The judge in the case says that he'll offer a written decision on a new trial as soon as possible, but a timeline was not given.
Efforts, meanwhile, are underway to preserve some undeveloped land near East Lake Okoboji. The 50 acres there is the last of Okoboji's undeveloped land, and the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation says they plan to keep it that way. But in order to do so, officials say they need to raise more than $8 million. That's to secure the purchase of that land. And an Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation committee member explains why preserving this land is so essential.
Our belief is that this is a property worth protecting, and one of the reasons is it's that balance of development and preserving something for future generations.
Krupp added that the Iowa Natural Heritage Foundation needs to secure the purchase by Labor Day, but that they have already raised more than $5 million towards that sale. If you would like to support the cause, you can click on this story on our website right now at SiouxlandProud.com. And Arnold's Park in Okoboji is taking some extra precautionary steps tonight to ensure the safety of all their visitors.
And it all comes at the amusement park's busiest time of the year. KCAU 9 reporter Jason Toctasian explains what went into the park's decision to change their hours.
Tim and Sophie, the Lake Okoboji area is preparing for a heat index that could be as hot as 103 degrees on Wednesday. And officials say this is the first time they can remember Arnold's Park closing due to the heat. Marshall Doden is the operations manager for Arnold's Park Amusement Park. He says the hot weather has forced some changes.
So we ended up closing at 3 p.m. today. We went from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So we cut that in half, and instead of being open until 8 p.m. And then we closed Wednesday, and all day from 10 to 8, we were closed on Wednesday.
And the decision to close the park came out of extra precaution.
When you're at an amusement park, you're having fun, you're sweating, you're running around, and it's hard to keep hydrated during that time. Yeah, we have water to offer and different drinks, but staying hydrated is also a hard time to do when you're having so much fun. You don't think about those things, so it leads to dizziness, faintness, and we just want to keep everybody safe.
We've got these beautiful lakes, great beaches, and it's a perfect day to get on a floaty and just float in the lake and enjoy yourself.
The Okoboji Tourism Director says that although the park will close all day tomorrow, there are other ways to beat the heat.
I think it's going to be a simple process for families. They're going to just readjust their schedules a little bit. Maybe they won't be able to go to the amusement park this afternoon or tomorrow, but they'll definitely get back out there Thursday when the temperatures are a little more enjoyable.
A small road bump in what's been one of Okoboji's most successful summers.
One of the best years we've seen here, and since I've been here in 6 years, we've had so many people come out and enjoy the park. It's been a true blessing for us to go from a year where we couldn't really have much to now a year where it's been open and everyone's still staying safe.
Peters told me Arnold's Park will resume normal operation hours on Thursday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Jason Toctasian, KCAU 9 News.
And losing just a day is a big deal because the season at Okoboji, the amusement park, is certainly winding down.
That's right. Yeah, we're almost to the month of August, and well, we had some pretty incredible temperatures out there today, Tim and Sophie. Highs were between 90 and 100 degrees in much of Siouxland as we look outside here in northeast Nebraska. Courtesy of the Wayne State College camera, there's a look at those highs. 95 this afternoon in Sioux City. It's the second hottest day of the year so far. 102 in O'Neill, Nebraska. 100 degrees in Yankton. Cooking up to 94 in Cherokee. 93 degrees in Denison. And 97 today in Omaha. Here's a look at what's going on in Sioux City now. We haven't cooled off really a whole lot. It's still 83 degrees outside. The wind is blowing from the south at 7 miles per hour with a relative humidity of 77% and a dew point that is currently in the mid-70s. That's more characteristic of what you would find in the Gulf Coast versus what is typical of Siouxland. Temperatures, those are in the 70s and 80s at this time, upper 70s, 79 degrees in Wayne and Albion. It's currently 80 degrees in Tacoma, a temperature of 79 in Cherokee, 82 overnight, low temperatures in the 50s for a couple nights, Sunday night and Monday night, and then heating up just a bit as we approach a chance of storms next Thursday. A couple nights back, we had a full moon in Siouxland. Thanks to Scott for snapping that picture of the moon shining over the waters there. If you have a picture that you want to share with everybody, find our website, go to the weather tab, click on send us your photos.
Really incredible how cool 84 is going to feel as a daytime high after what we're experiencing. It's all perspective.
Yeah, it's going to be refreshing. Less humid next week, too, so that to look forward to as well.
56 overnight won't be bad either.
Yeah, open the windows.
We'll need a jacket at that point. Thanks a lot, Scott.
Thanks. Yep, thanks. Well, while the advice today was to stay indoors, some folks just couldn't miss out on day 2 at the boys high school state baseball tournament.
That's right, and we will bring you a wrap from those games today, plus what's ahead for day 3 of it coming up. But first, in tonight's Veterans Voices, a Siouxland man shares his experience handling weapons during the Vietnam War, including napalm. The lessons he brought back next.
You're watching KCAU 9 News with Tim Seaman, Sophie Erber, Chief Meteorologist Scott Larson, and Sports Director Jake Jones. This is KCAU 9 News at 10.
He was in the Air Force during the Vietnam War and supported those on the front lines by loading fighter jets with weapons.
KCAU 9 reporter Jason Toktajian tonight sharing the story of Leon Stevenson and his experiences during and after the war in this week's edition of Veterans Voices.
The whole country was pockmarked where bombs for years and years and years and years and years had pockmarked it. You pretty well knew you were going into a war.
During his time in the Air Force, Leon Stevenson was based in Phuket Air Base as a weapons specialist.
Whenever there was a firefight going on, they would call us and say, we need 4 F-100s, and they would give us the orders, whether it was 500-pound bombs, 250-pound bombs, napalm, or rockets.
And the Viet Cong saw his air base as a target.
The VC would go up into the mountains and lob mortars down onto the base. They wanted to blow up those airplanes. So they would, suicide missions come in with jackets of explosives on them and try to get up underneath of an airplane and blow themselves and the airplane up. Never got to the airplanes, never lost an airplane the whole time we were over there.
Besides Stevenson's encounters with the Viet Cong, he also had to handle napalm.
Napalm was the most dangerous weapon that we loaded because we would get them in and they would be leaking, and napalm is like Jell-O. The consistency is it's like gasoline. Very explosive. They were using a lot of napalm not only on the enemy, but we cleared an awful lot of jungle. If the VC were sneaking up and getting in somewhere, we just totally went in and napalmed it.
After exactly a year of service, Stevenson was eligible to come home, a moment he was eager for.
Everybody wanted out. Everybody, no matter what branch of the service you were in or anything else, you wanted out.
But when he returned to the United States, he wasn't greeted with the warmest of welcomes.
On the street, I'd get spit at for going. Consequently, these pictures haven't been out of the trunk for 53 years. I don't talk about it. The country made us ashamed of the fact that we had went over there and fought for America.
If there was one takeaway from his time in Vietnam, it's that life in America is taken for granted.
Anytime you visit a third world country of any kind, anywhere, whether there's a war or not, you learn a lot about America. You come back and love it because we've got it better than anybody else.
For Veterans Voices, Jason Toktajian, KCAU 9 News.
And KCAU 9 News is proud to tell the stories of Siouxland veterans. We air them every Tuesday at 10 and Wednesday during our midday news.
And nominations for it are always open. So if you know a veteran with a story to tell, we'd like for you to email us at veteransvoices@kcautv.com.
A lucky group of Siouxlanders was able to catch a preview of the annual Round Barn Open House event at the Plymouth County Fair. The theme for this year's presentation, farm safety, and the speeches and displays featured everything from transporting equipment to grain bin safety. Folks on hand were also able to preview this year's famous Round Barn Agriculture Education exhibit.
Really cool. It was really fun to make because got to put my train set and then mix it with the farm. Never really done that before. So usually I've had a town in it, but this year I put a farm and put a bunch of stuff in there to make it farm safety, and it was really took a long time, but it was a really fun experience.
And you can take a look at the Round Barn for yourself beginning tomorrow. Again, that's at the fairgrounds there in Lamar. It's kind of a neat structure, I guess is the best way to put it.
Never been. I'll have to check it out. And we switch gears now to something entirely different. KCAU 9 Sports Director Jake Jones with baseball.
Yeah, they play in great structures in baseball.
Well, that's true.
X's looking to add on to their win streak this evening. But could Jose Sermo set the franchise record for home runs as well? Well, that answer to more coming up next in sports. The Knights looking to keep the run alive tomorrow in the semis. Matchup with top-seeded Van Meter at 6 o'clock in Carroll.
One of two teams in the semis already,
Rebs
right?
and St. Mary's playing at 10 a.m. And then Unity at 6. MOC Floyd Valley also playing in Iowa City at 6 o'clock as well.
Good news.
Thanks, Jake. And we check in for one final forecast. First, let's take you outside right now here in Siouxland. Another warm night in the mix. Warm, almost an understatement for some people. Although I will say a little bit welcome to me after we spend all this time being refrigerated inside. At least for a few seconds, it's nice.
Yeah. She's from Florida, guys.
I am from Florida. Full disclosure, I kind of enjoy it.
Well, we've got one more day basically of Florida-like weather with those temperatures soaring up to about 100 again tomorrow afternoon. Tonight only cooling off to 72 in Sioux City with a clear sky. Mostly sunny up to 99 for tomorrow afternoon. When you factor in the humidity, it'll feel like it's between 105 and 115. So, of course, make sure that you are being cautious with that intense level of heat. Starting to cool things down some for Thursday into the upper 80s. The weekend appears to be pretty nice, but a chance of some storms Friday and Saturday.
Look for some shade. Stay hydrated. That is for sure tomorrow.
That's right. Good night.
Good night.